Where do I start from? I'm Mr. President of the International Bar Association. I thank you very much for this honor. I want to thank the IBA, the leadership of the IBA, Lexis, and everyone involved in the nomination and selection process for deeming me fit for this prestigious IBA Human Rights Award for this year. I thank you very much for the honor. I've always believed in using my energy, my voice, legal expertise as tools of social engineering and problem solving. Being the voice for the voiceless, standing for what is right, even if it requires that I stand alone, I believe it's not for the gain of today, but for the verdict of posterity. My wife actually reminded me this on my way coming for this award. Somebody who was very special to me, very close to me, my mother-in-law, is being buried in Nigeria today. So when I got the invitation of selection to come to Rome, Italy for this honor, and also clashing with the day that my mother-in-law will be buried, I was somehow confused. And my wife reminded me, you have to go. Because my mother-in-law stood for equity, justice, and fairness. And the only way you can give her the honor is the day she's been buried and you are being recognized globally. And she actually reminded me of an event that happened in Nigeria in 2010. Being a United Nations Peace Ambassador, I always make it very compulsory for myself to commemorate International Human Rights Day in Nigeria. In 2010, I bought 10,000 copies of Nigerian Constitution from my hard-earned resources. And I gathered 20 lawyers with me to move on the street of Lagos. We were not only giving out this constitution to people, we were demonstrating relevance of the constitutional provisions in their daily lives. And one man asked me, he said, who paid for all this? I said, I bought this constitution because I believe so much in expanding the frontiers of human rights. And if I can show you where you can see your rights, it will go a long way shaping your own life. And of course, you can also stand for what is right. And the man told me, he said, if you had used your money to buy 10,000 copies of the Constitution, share with us, took your time to educate us on the relevance of the constitutional provisions, he said, you will be globally celebrated. And when my wife reminded me of this, then I had nothing to say than to make it here. So I thank my family, most especially my father-in-law, who said, it's a must to be here, and all my brothers-in-laws who also supported me to be here today. Yes, a lot of people have asked me, tell us, since you've been shortlisted for IBA Human Rights Award, what do you do specifically, whether you are a human rights and international or expert from Nigeria? And before I go into that, I always say that we are not short of preachers against human rights abuse. And we are not also short of preaching against serious violations of human rights. We are only short of compliance with the rule of law. In Nigeria 10 years ago, I started as a radio presentation where I educate Nigerians on the scope of their rights and the limitations. And I have a dedicated line where people call in on the live radio program to share legal issues that arise in their daily lives with me. And I will take most of this right up pro bono free of charge to people. And it got to a time I started inviting so many known lawyers in Lagos, because I must admit that there are many lawyers, senior colleagues at the bar, who are also expanding frontiers of human rights in Nigeria. In fact, I went as far as going to the bench to bring in justices to come and speak to a lot of people on human rights. And not only that, we started organizing an annual human rights conference and make it free for people. Because people always tell me, you are Mr. Free. And I said, I'm doing this for the ordinary people on the streets who cannot afford professional fees of lawyers to enforce their rights when their rights infringed upon. We started this on radio. And it got to a time we took advantage of social media. We were hosting human rights lawyers. We were asking members of the public to share problems they have with us so that we could solve it. And before I know it, people from northern part of the country, eastern part of the country started calling for legal help. And my radio coverage was limited to Lagos of about 27 million people. If 27 million people could be reached out of 180 million people, I felt I needed to do something extra. And the idea of using mobile technology advancement came. I felt in this era of mobile technology advancement, I should be able to simplify human rights in English, Pidgin, and 3 major local languages spoken by over 100 million Nigerians, so that Nigerians can have access to their rights with a push of button in their palms. And I felt that apart from having access to simplified rights, some people will still need one guide or the other. That's how I got 50 lawyers to work with me, and we respond daily to questions, human rights issues on the app. I felt this may not be enough, because even when you have a lawyer who can guide you, most especially the ordinary man on the street, and you have access to your rights, you may need more. I thought, what else do we need? I made sure on the app that people can get connected to some government agencies saddled with the responsibility of enforcing human rights in Nigeria. For example, like a story of a young man who put on a camel, a military camel, just a shirt in Onitsha, in Nigeria. Military men cited this young man, a disabled young man. They pounded on him, beat him, and injured him. People were screaming for help. But I could remember when people were tweeting about this, somebody said, go to Know Your Right Nigerian app. You can get the human rights contact of the Nigerian army. Let's report this abuse. I saw it. I retweeted it. Lo and behold, after serious mails to the Nigerian human rights desk through the platform of Know Your Right Nigerian app, Nigerian army actually realized violation has taken place. They came not only to tender public apology, not only giving the young man 2 million naira, but all the culprits were arrested in Nigeria. I feel happy when I hear this kind of news. It shows I'm getting feedback, and what I've done is actually working. And at the regional level, I've been privileged to consult for African Union, most especially on the implementation of African Youth Charter. And through advocacy, I've been able to speak on so many humanitarian law crises in Africa. I would say the recognition of this magnitude only brings one thing to me: responsibilities. It's not possible for me to get an award here, go back to my country, and sit down. But since the responsibility will bring about deliverables and outcome that will make the world fair and just, I am happier and ready to continue in these responsibilities. I will not forget people who supported me, people who inspired me. Every time I have court cases, people I could easily speak to, and they will be of support. I must thank my wife and my children and the family members for their support. I must thank my legal team at Adeola Oyinlade and Co. Law Firm in Lagos, Nigeria. I must also thank my staff at the Constitutional Right Awareness and Liberty Initiative for their immense support. But I will mention some few Nigerians. At any point in time when I call them, day, night, they will respond. I must appreciate the co-founder of Bring Back Our Girls in Nigeria, Dr. Obi Ezekwesili. Every time I need a support, technical support, she has always been there. We can't be talking about Know Your Right Nigerian app today if there are not some celebrities, known faces in Nigeria who endorse it without taking a dime from me. A leading Nigerian female singer, Simi, actually endorsed Human Rights Nigerian app and makes it very popular. So also a Nollywood star called Yomi Fabi in Nigeria, who also supported. All I've been doing in the last 10 years, I've never asked an organization for funding. I believe that I should use my expertise to do all this. But somehow, when we wanted to do the hub, I realized the budget I normally have for human rights work would not cover it. And when the US consulate in Lagos heard that I wanted to build the hub, they said they would like to support building the hub while I continue to take care of the fees of the legal practitioners working with me. I thank US consulate for the support in unveiling the Know Your Right Nigerian hub. Today, I'm privileged and honored to stand before distinguished lawyers all over the world. I thank you also for honoring me. Charity begins at home, they say. I must appreciate and thank the members of Nigerian Bar Associations, lawyers from Nigerian members, on the bench under the leadership of the NBA president, Paul Soros. Thank you for honoring me here today. I will just leave one message. As the world is commemorating the 70th anniversary of Universal Declaration of Human Rights, we all have work, as in more work to do to make the world fair and just. The whole world is looking up to we lawyers to use our knowledge of law as tools of social engineering and problem solving. So I want to believe and hope that as we are all here today, we'll continue to use our knowledge of law as a glue that holds the society together. Thank you very much.